Good evening, everyone. My name is Ankush Ahuja. I take care of the investments and partnerships for the platform. Before I start, I would sincerely want to thank all our investors, partners, and customers who believed in us in a recent offering, which was launched in November 2021. And we got a great success of raising the fund within 18 days for a gross of about 18 crores. That was a huge success for us and gave us a lot of confidence as a platform. As an organization, we have a clear vision of raising about 200 crores by March 2022, and we are currently at about 120 crore of asset under management. Year 2022, we have strong plans to go across boundaries and raise about 1,000 crores. And we definitely look forward for your support in all our offerings. The recent offering which I'm here for is the Times Square building, which is located in Andheri East. It's a grade A plus iconic IT park, and we have a great tenant, a long-term tenant, which is there on the 12th floor. I'll run you through the complete presentation. Any questions if you have, you can just type in the FAQs right away. And definitely at the end of the presentation, we will have Shiv who will be joining us, and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. To confine, looking forward for your support once again. To start with, this is the Times Square building where we have the Times Square Andheri opportunity. Our website is www.hbits.co. Taking you through the investment overview, there are some key pointers on the left side, and on the right side, we have all the terms and conditions. So it's a newly constructed grade A plus building, an average yield of 10% plus, which is best in line in the industry. We have a 15 years agreement period and a 5 years lock-in. Smartworks, which is backed up by Keppel Land Singapore. Persistent System, which is a subtenant for us, and they've got a 4 billion market cap. As always, we get the best of connectivity in terms of the airport and proximity at the Andheri location. Talking about the deal terms, 10.35% is the average yield, 13.1% is the targeted IRR which we are envisaging. As I mentioned, the agreement period is 15 years, 5 years lock-in, Smartworks being the tenant, subtenant being Persistent Systems, and as I always say, it's an opportunity for every investors to not invest $1 million, but absolutely an opportunity for them to invest into $1 million asset. So the ticket size is 25 lakh. That's the asset overview. In terms of the asset description, Times Square happens to be one of the top-notch developments in the vicinity. It's a grade A plus iconic IT park in Andheri East with top-class amenities and excellent connectivity, which I will cover it up in the next slides. Definitely one important point in this slide is the vacancy, which is less than 8%. So at all times, you have 92% of the building being managed by different offices. There are 4 towers in the development. The discussion is all about right now this tower C, 12th floor, and the total building is G plus 12 with 3 basements. Tower C attained the OC in November 2020, and the total leasable area is 8,86,000 square feet. As we always say, the neighborhood definitely defines the placement of the building. We have the best of corporates in this building. We have Citi, which is the global banking brand, as we all know. American Express into financial services. Norton, which is into construction and equipment. FLF happens to be a listed company which is into fashion. Iron Mountain again is into data management, one of the renowned players in the country. Nika, as we all have seen, it's into cosmetic and beauty products, and it's a listed company. So I would be very, very confident about this building. Looking at the building, you have the glass facade, and it's well placed, as we said. It's excellent in terms of connectivity and long-term perspective. A quick snippet about the floor plan. Talking about the overall building efficiency, it's at 59%, and the floor definitely is a very efficient floor plan with maximum column width and 4 subdividable units enhancing the flexibility of the floor. Some of the building photos, as you can see, a well-placed building, a grade A building right there. Talking about the tenant and the subtenant, we have Smartworks, which is the tenant for us, and Persistent System, which is a subtenant in this proposition. Smartworks, which is a tenant for us, it's India's first and leading managed and flexible office space provider. Needs no introduction with the kind of numbers it's mentioning on the left side, which is again area under management is 4 million square feet. The revenue for the organization marked in 2020 and 21 is 3x. They're growing leaps and bounds. Value for the valuation for the organization is 3,000 plus crores. As a focus of the organization, they're focusing on large corporates and large buildings as well. And the enterprise clientele for the building is 90% plus. As an institutional backing, they're backed up by Keppel Land Singapore, which is a renowned player, and they're awarded as a Euromoney winner for 2021, being the global developer overall, which is focusing on urbanization and environment. In terms of their presence in the country, Smartwork currently has 60,000 plus seats in India spread across 31 centers in 9 cities, which includes Hyderabad, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, and Delhi NCR. The vision of the organization for December 2022 is to attain footprints of 7 million square feet. In terms of the business model, as it reflects here, WeWork and SmartWorks are the undisputed leaders in the country, which are actually taking up area which is more than 50,000 square feet. And in terms of the smaller area, there are about 300 players, which definitely they're operating, with an enterprise player being IndiQ. So in terms of a large proposition being acquired and given to corporates, SmartWork and WeWork definitely are the undisputed leaders in the country. In terms of the data, whatever I'm exhibiting and discussing and detailing right now, it all comes from smartworksoffice.com. That's a source. In terms of the clients for SmartWorks, they have over 300 plus large corporate clients. As it mentions here, these are renowned names: Microsoft, Amazon, EY, Otis, Lenovo, Hitachi, Jaguar, Bacardi, DHL. So these all large corporates have been their clients. So they have a proven track record in the country, and they're growing, as I mentioned. Talking about a subtenant, we have Persistent Systems, which is a renowned and known name in the country. It was established in 1990, and it happens to be the top 10 Indian IT services company delivering digital business acceleration, enterprise modernization, and next generation product engineering services. To talk about some key numbers, the market cap of the organization is over $4 billion. The cash on the balance sheet, which is very welcoming, is over 1,000 crores. The quarter to quarter sales growth numbers marks at about 34%. In terms of the strength of the organization, they have over 15,000 employees and 53 offices spread across 18 countries. Talking about some important news for our tenant and subtenants, Smartworks acquired 4 million square feet in the lockdown, and they plan to invest about 250 crores on 2.5 million square feet in 2021 to ensure they achieve a target of 7 million square feet by December 2022. Room India, which is definitely a credible platform, has named Smartworks to its 2021 Future Unicorn list. And the third news, which was established in August 2020, talks about the acquisition of Tower C in Times Square building. Now, in terms of the profits of the organization, which is Persistent Systems, the company reported a 58.6% rise in the net profit to 162 crores for the quarter ended September 2021. So as an organization, they're growing in terms of numbers. Persistent System expects demand to remain high over the next 3 to 5 years, is definitely true. And the company plans to achieve a $1 billion revenue within the next few years. This news was established in September 2021. In terms of the hiring, Persistent plans to hire about 6,000 people in this fiscal year, and currently the company's strength is about 14,904 employees. A snapshot of the location overview. Talking about the location connectivity, Times Square and Andheri both are very well located in the heart of Bombay. You have key strategic points like 400 meters right there, you have the Maroon Naka metro station. 600 meter, you have the Sakinaka metro station. The Andheri railway station is about 4.3 kilometers. The international airport is just about 1.6 kilometers, while the domestic airport is about 4.8 kilometers, with some strategic landmarks like the Leela, the Lalit, and JW Marriott Sahar all are located within 1.5 kilometers of the location. So definitely for any corporate, while who wants to start an establishment, Times Square and Andheri are the key locations and key choices for them. Some of the tenants in the neighborhood, which definitely are the large corporates. You have IndusInd Bank, Accenture, Titan, Disney. These all are in the Andheri location and are large corporates. To mark an important fact, these all corporates have neither negotiated and have neither moved out from their proposition within the COVID as well. There are two important elements for any real estate transaction. One is the rental possibility and the rental transactions. Along with that is the sale price. That's very, very important. So here we're talking about the recent lease transactions which have happened in the vicinity. The average rentals across the vicinity is about 126 rupees per square feet, while we've acquired the asset at 117 rupees per square feet, which is at a 7% discount. And definitely that marks the fact that there is an earning potential in the near future. Talking about some of the transactions which have happened in the vicinity, we have as high as 144 rupees per square feet for 22,325 square feet, which has happened in the Logitech Park, where Gebs is a tenant. Along with that, we have the Logitech Park, where you have the Worldline Global Services, and the rentals are 137 rupees per square feet. Last but not the least, you have the Fullerton India acquiring the Kalpataru Square, 21,389 square feet at a rental of 138 rupees. These all data points are very welcoming, are provided by CRE Metrics. Definitely at 117 rupees per square feet, it's a valuable transaction. A brief on the recent transactions which have happened in the 5 to 7 kilometers of the said area. We have transactions happening at as high as 21,000 rupees per square feet in the Fulcrum building. We're talking about 19,500 rupees per square feet of transaction happening at the Kalpataru Square, followed by Kanakya Wall Street, which has recently happened in June 2021 at 18,850 rupees. Here, we've got a valuable price point of 15,000 rupees in a grade A plus building like Times Square, wherein the average rate of the transactions are happening at 16,750 rupees per square feet. So overall, we've acquired the building at a 12% discount. The terms and financials of the building, I'll just run it through. So talking about the legal license of the same proposition, we have the tenant Smartworks, which acquired the building in December 2019, where they have a long-term agreement period till December 2034. And the lock-in here is now till December 2024. So we essentially have 3 years pending. Alongside, we have the subtenant persistent systems, which will take over the building in February 2022, the 12th floor, which will end in 2027 February. So collectively, as an investor, if you see the timelines, it's a more secure proposition when one point in time the tenant is here for 3 years. Alongside, there will be the subtenant, which is here till 2027. Talking about the tenant, it's Smartwork co-working. Term is for 15 years. Lock-in, as I mentioned, is 5 years. Escalation 15% every 3 years. The area acquired is 17,005 square feet. The rent per square feet per month is 117. The rent per month is 19,89,585. The annual rent comes out to 2.38 crores. The security deposit is for 6 months, 1 crore 19,37,510. On the subtenant, the persistent systems is here for 5 years lock-in and 5 years term. An important slide which details the cost breakup. The cost of the premises is at charged at about 15,000 rupees per square feet, which is the acquisition price for us. The cost of the premises is 25 crores 50 lakh 75,000. The other charges which are related to the building in terms of regular improvement and management for a period of 5 years comes to about 1 crore 27 lakh 53,750. Stamp duty 5% and registration 30,000 for 4 units comes to about 1.30 crores. The CAM is charged at about 11 rupees per square feet and property tax at 4 rupees per square feet, with totals up to 61 lakh 21,800. The legal fees is about 10 lakh. The admin expenses, which covers the independent director salaries, book management, and audit fees for a period of 5 years comes to about 33 lakh. The acquisition fees is charged about broadly at about 3%, which cumulates to 91 lakh 58,331. And the reserves are kept at 20% for the first year rental, which comes to about 47 lakh 75,069. So the total acquisition cost is 30 crore 52 lakh 77,700. Talking about the financial model, before I start, I would request all of you to go down to the Google link where we've shared the detailed financial model on all assumptions for a period of 13 years. Right here, the total investment is 30 crores 52 lakh 77,700. The rentals will be coming in from Smartworks. Year 1 will be 2.38 crores, which will escalate to about 2.44 crores, and then furthermore 2.74 crores. The rental top-up here is 30 lakh 52,777. And the interest on security deposit and reserves, which comes back to you, is 9 lakh 19,192. The CAM is not being charged for the first 2 years, and it's 22 lakh 44,660. The total sale price is 37 crores 10 lakh 66,952. Talking about the cash flows, here we're talking about 39 crores 71 lakh 97,757. Some of the very, very important assumptions, the interest rate is assumed at 5.5%, and it's in accordance with the prevailing market rate. The capital appreciation, as I mentioned, is estimated at 5%, and definitely all the numbers are in INR, and we're targeting at an IRR of 13.10%. This is an important slide. It talks about the growth possibility of the particular asset. We've done some various assumptions from 4% to 10%, where the target IRR can move from 12% to 17%, and the money multiplier can move in from a 1.52x to a 1.18x. On conservative basis, we assume that there will be a 5% annual capital appreciation on the asset, giving a targeted return of 13.1% and a 1.58x return multiple if you assume a period of about 4 years when we sell the asset. A brief on the terms of the asset: we will be charging a 1% management fees from year 2, and the hurdle rate here is about 8%, where the performance fees for us is 10%. To summarize the brief of the asset once again, it's a newly constructed Grade A plus building, 15 years lease with a 5 years lock-in, persistent system as a subtenant, Smartworks as a tenant for us, a well-placed building with the airport and metro connectivity, a 10% plus average yield. A brief about HBITs. Fractional ownership commercial real estate offers a range of rentals between 8 to 9% and an IRR of 13 to 18%. Some of the USPs: that you can invest 25 lakh into a grade A asset. The sourcing, the due diligence is done by the platform, which is HBITs in this case. Every information in terms of paperwork, every information related to the asset is right there on the dashboard. And with this kind of an asset domain, you have an improved liquidity. Taking you through on the investment process: somebody who wants to invest into the property can log into hbits.co and choose a property to invest. Digitally sign the EOI document for the property and pay the initial token amount through a platform. That's all done on technology. Complete the paperwork in terms of KYC and other information which is required. Digitally sign the ownership agreement along with the payment of the remaining investment amount. So somebody sitting in any part of the world can definitely invest into our proposition. The rentals will start right at your bank account digitally and will be credited month on month. And from a long-term perspective, one investor can earn a capital appreciation once the property is sold between 4 to 6 years on average, and sell your share at any point in time through the dashboard as well. And we as a platform will assist fully in terms of giving assistance on the interim exit as well in case required between 30 to 60 days. A brief on the investment structure: how does it operate? Once you invest the money, it goes into an SPV account. It's an asset holding company which is managed by independent directors. And once the money is raised, the asset gets registered in this company name, for which, as an investor, you get CCDs in equity, being the owner of that particular asset. On one side of it, the account is overlooked by a trusteeship. In our case, it's Universal, and they manage the investment amount and transfers. On the other side, we have HBITS, which is the investment manager and provides all information to our investors and coordinates with the asset management company. A brief on the investment dashboard: how does it look like? Our dashboard is designed to provide seamless investment experience to all our investors and stakeholders. As an organization, our asset under management is about 120 crores. This is a brief in terms of the assets fully funded with us. The tenants in our portfolio ranges from ICICI Bank, ATPI, IFL, and recently MAN. The HBITS team comprises of ambitious graduates from world-renowned universities and institutes like Harvard, Stanford, IIMS, as well as there are professionals from various organizations like HTSC, HSBC, Piramal, and Nitrile. Talking about the founding team for HBITS, we have Mr. Shiv Parekh. He is the founder and CEO for the organization. His education is from the Harvard Business School, where he's done his MBA. He's a BS in Engineering Physics from Stanford University, and has got experience working with brands like Citi and Stanford Management Company. Coming back to India, he was running the development arm called Raycon, and he's also established a company called Workloft, which is in the co-working space. For me, I've got about 2 decades of experience into financial services and real estate distribution. I work with brands like Real America Life Insurance, Mirae Asset Mutual Funds, American Express, Standard Chartered Bank, and last I was working with Piramal Capital, where I raised about 3,000 plus crores in the AIF and PMS category, and I was running the distribution business with the name of BrickX. A brief on our partners: we have Deloitte as a structuring advisor, JLL manages the valuations, we have Shardul Amardas Mangaldas, who are the legal partners for us. ICICI is the banking partner for us. Any data point which I'm presenting here and the team will present will be backed up by CRE metrics, and the trusteeship is universal for us. Talking about the credentials of the group: Our parent group, Raycon, is an Indo-German joint venture engaged in property investments, land developments, real estate development, and providing end-to-end real estate development services in India, Germany, and UAE. So, as we believe that as a development arm, we got experience in acquiring land, developing it, leasing it out, managing it, and selling it. Some of the landmark projects by Raycon include the Deutsche Park, an IT park located in Nahur, Mumbai, and spanning over an area of 4 lakh square feet. Another development is the Jacob H&G House, a corporate building for Jacob International, which is a Fortune 500 company. Raycon as a group also was a co-promoter of Logitech IT Park, which is located in Andheri and spanning over a million square feet. So anybody living in Mumbai cannot miss this Logitech IT Park. It's a huge development. We are also present in the co-working space, which is Workloft, and we have 4 centers in Bombay, and we are growing further. On the overall matrix, as a group, we have about 3,000 crores of asset under management, and with 35 years of experience on the development and on the management side. HPITS as a platform definitely is in news as it's a new concept and the organization is growing multifold. We are there in the Economic Times, Your Story, CNBC, TV 18. These are the contact details of the platform. We have hpits.co, and any information you can just mail it to info@hpits.co and the contact number. We've got a presence back in Bombay, Bangalore, and Gurgaon. Mumbai is one of the most lucrative markets around the world. Definitely to show the numbers, you have the office stock H1 2021, which is about 152 million square feet. The grade A gross absorption H1 2021 is 1.4 million square feet. And the new supplies which is coming in H1 2021 is about 1.3 million square feet. So as a city, definitely you have A-grade commercial assets. There is rapid economic growth in terms of financial services and the finances of the entire location. And the public transport is a key element, which is excellent in the Mumbai city. And the overall infrastructure is commendable in the Mumbai location as well. Talking about the micro market in Mumbai, I think it ranges from CBD, Lower Parel, BKC, Andheri Kurla, which is in discussion, western suburbs, eastern suburb, Thane, Navi Mumbai. So typically every location has its own advantages. Taking an example, Lower Parel is one of the key commercial suburbs of Mumbai and houses various upscale residential and commercial buildings. Likewise, while I said Andheri is the most comprehensive location, it exhibits a perfect blend of residential and retail development with banks, hotels, grade A offices, and exhibition centers. So overall, for any corporate office to reside in the same location, it's the first choice because it's being near to the airport and the connectivity of metro as well. And overall, you've got a blend of residential and retail developments in the said location. This is a little snippet in terms of the Mumbai real estate market, which is captured by media houses like Financial Express, Mint, Times of India, and Realty.com, where it mentions that office market in Mumbai has witnessed a net absorption of about 0.61 million square feet in Q2 2021, an increase of 36% when compared to Q2 2020. That's very, very important. And importantly, you see the office space leasing in Mumbai rose to about 1.2 million square feet during the July to September 2021 from 1 million square feet in the year ago. So that's a very important news which is established by reality.com in October 2021. That's all from my side. The house is open for question and answers. We have Mr. Shiv Parekh, he's right joined here with us. Any questions, if you have, you can just write, just post it in the Q&A group. You can just post that and we'll be happy to answer. Some of the questions, Shiv, I think the first one straight away goes to you, talks about the vision of the organization in 2022.
Oh yeah, great to be back on this webinar as we've been doing, Ankush, firstly, and thanks for all the participants for joining. It's great to be here. In terms of the vision for 2022, we have very good plans for the next year. We want to touch 1,000 crore AUM and bring our investors' assets across the top 6 cities. And we're looking across asset classes, offices, warehouses, data centers. So we're very, very excited for the next year.
Great. The next one, which is coming, is: are you looking to bring in a warehouse transaction in the near future?
It's possible. We're very excited by the warehouse asset class as well, especially given kind of the growth of e-commerce. So let's see. There's some warehouse transactions under discussion.
Absolutely. The next question, which comes in, is there a minimum lock-in in the transaction for the customer?
No, so there's no minimum lock-in for the customers. Customers can exit their share by listing on the platform. And there'll be other buyers. We already have 20,000 plus registered users on the platform. However, we do recommend a long-term view when customers invest, because real estate generally, you have to take a long-term view, and it's over the long term that real estate appreciates. Over and above that, it's more tax efficient to stay longer than 3 years, because it's taxed as long-term capital gains as opposed to short-term capital gains.
Great. Very transaction oriented. It says somebody is asking, is there any opportunity still open or available for us in the Man asset?
Not really. That asset has been completely sold out in less than 20 days. So, but the Times Square asset is very, very attractive. And it's a grade A plus building, as Ankush, you mentioned in the presentation.
Yeah, I think further to the same, I think happy to announce the fact that we already 10% plus subscribed, and we got a very welcoming on a start off response. This Monday, we've launched the same. And I think we're looking forward to raise very quickly at 20% very soon. Again, one very important strategic one, I think you were instrumental in the same, Chip. Have you exited any of the transactions so far, unlike any other platform?
So we did have an exit at the in March this year, one of the first assets that we entered, and it was exited at a 17+% IRR. It was the first asset that we did.
So another next question is: the cash flow mentioned in the net before TDS, or is there any other charge applied to the cash flow?
So yeah, we'll answer that, Mr. Subramaniam. So in the information memorandum, we have the gross cash flows written, but then if you go into the Google Drive and you see into the Excel, there it's a net cash flow, net of taxes and fees, and then yes, then it's net before TDS. So do go through the Google Drive and do go through the Excel model over there.
A question which is more linked to who will be on the board of the SPV.
Yeah, so on the board of SPV, these are independent professionals. They're chartered accountants, and they're independent professionals who are overseeing the operations of the SPV in terms of audit, accounting, ROC filing, all the statutory compliances. So they're independent professionals who are chartered accountants on the board of the SPV.
Question which is more related to: has the project received all the necessary post-construction approvals?
Absolutely. The project has received all the necessary post-construction approvals. OC is in place from November 2020. Firstly, the fact that it's November 20, it's a newly constructed building, which makes it very exciting to enter. Over and above that, Smartworks being backed by a global institute, Keppel Land, plus Persistent Systems, which is an Indian MNC, all of them would have done their checks before renting in the building. And we've also done our preliminary due diligence, and all the post-construction approvals are in place.
The reason for selling this building, I think, and that's very important.
Yeah, so question by Mr. Shukla. So the reason for selling the asset or the property, so the developer is selling the property. And reason being, obviously, the developer's business is to construct the building, lease it out, and then sell the constructed building, because then the developer wants to take that funds and probably acquire a new land or probably put it into new projects. The developer's business is not to hold rented property. The developer's business is to build buildings.
Capitalize and make money. Great. The next question is more from Mr. Golab. He wants an explanation of the breakdown of acquisition cost and management charges.
Sure. So we charge a 3% acquisition fee. That is the acquisition cost on the total acquisition price. That goes towards distributing the product. And then there's a 1% yearly management fee we charge for managing the asset.
The next one is from Mr. Desugari, which talks about the question is tax and registration details in NRI perspective.
So yeah, from an NRI perspective, obviously it depends on which country the NRI is investing from. So you can speak to one of our investment professionals after this call. They will be in touch with you. but the investment is able to come from the NRE or the NRO account. However, funds are repatriated to the NRO or the non-repatriable account.
And next question by Mr. Sharma. When is the lease with subtenant going to kick in? And
Yeah,
what is their duration in the duration?
I think that's what makes this. Yep. I think that's what makes this proposition very attractive. The agreement is going to kick in on 1st Feb 2021. Sorry, 1st Feb 2022 next year. And that's what makes it attractive, because it's a 5-year agreement and a 5-year lock-in, which means at least for a period of 5 years, the rentals are fixed and there's a tenant in place, there's a subtenant in place. So that's the situation with the subtenant.
Mr. Janvi has asked a question. What is the risk involved in the transaction?
So see, generally in terms of risk, in terms of fractional ownership, owning pre-leased assets, the one risk is in terms of vacancy risk, which, as I mentioned in the last question, in this case, it's very, very low. One, because it's a 5-year lock-in with Persistent Systems, which is a $4 billion company. Over and above that, this market, the Andheri micro market, is an evergreen and hot micro market in Mumbai. And Times Square asset specifically being one of the top buildings in Andheri, probably top 3 or 4 buildings. This building will always see a very, very low vacancy.
Absolutely. Is there a SPV? Is there a separate SPV form for each acquisition?
Exactly.
Yes.
Asked from Mr. Mehta. Exactly. So there's a separate private limited company for every separate property, and customers pick and choose which property they want to invest in. And accordingly, they become shareholders and debenture CCD holders in that specific private limited company.
Does HPITS, this question is asked by Mr. Dheeraj, do HPITS invest in the same property as well?
No, HPITS is a professional property manager. We don't invest in the properties. We just curate the properties and provide it for investors to invest in.
Important question by Mr. Shah. In terms of the exit, has any individual been successful in selling his unit after listing it on the platform?
So in terms of individuals listing on the platform, for the most part, since that 3-year period has not been crossed, we've not received that many requests from investors, but a couple have been able to exit.
Yeah, a quick advice for Mr. Naveen Kumar, who has been asking that warehouse or office space, which is more beneficial for the customers?
See, both are very, very attractive asset classes in general. So it's not like warehouse or office space, one is better than the other. It's more the question of which warehouse, which tenant, which office space, which tenant, which location. That's what determines whether it's a good investment or not. So warehouse and office space in general, very, very attractive propositions, both of them. But then it's up to the investor to pick and choose which asset, which location, which tenant, what's the lock-in. Those kind of questions the investor must ask before investing.
Great. Next question asked by Manish. Apart from Mumbai, which are the cities in India, are you planning to launch a project?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, Ankush, in the next 12 months, we want to be present in the top 6 cities. In the immediate term future, we're very excited about Pune and Bangalore as micro markets that we're going to enter.
Yeah, question asked by Bhaskar, which talks about, is it a green certified building?
It is. It's a gold LEED certified building.
LEED certified.
So very, very attractive.
When does the rentals start? Asked by an anonymous user.
So rentals start when we fund the full asset. We're expecting that in the next, probably 30 days. Post that, rentals will start for the asset. I mean, currently rentals are already being paid to the current owner. As soon as we complete these transactions, rental will pass on from the current owner to us.
Okay. Who manages the subtenant? Is SPV responsible for dealing with just tenant or also the subtenant?
No, the SPV is just responsible for dealing with the tenant. And then Smartworks. So Smartworks business is basically into managed offices. What Smartworks does is it takes these bare shell offices out, fits them out into grade A office spaces that make it attractive for tenants, subtenants like Persistent Systems to occupy. So they look after the office maintenance, they look after the electricity bill, the internet. That is what Smartworks business is in. And that's why Smartworks has grown so tremendously, because it does the job of managing the internal of the office space. So that's why Smartworks will look after the subtenant.
Great. Next question is by Mr. Aliabas Tinwala, which he's asked a question, can I bought in the name of a company?
Yes, your investment can come through a company. Your investment can come through almost any route, whether it's your personal name, whether it's a joint account, whether it's an HUF, whether it's a LLP partnership company, it's all of those are possible.
Great. Next question by Vijay. If we invest money, do we become the owner of the proportionate part of the property?
So you invest the money, you become a shareholder and CCD holder in the private limited company that owns that specific asset and only that specific asset.
Do you obtain 281 NOC against the property from the developer?
So our legal firm, Shardul Amachal Mangaldas, looks after all of this, and we won't go ahead until our technical due diligence is done, our property due diligence is done, the title is clear, and only after that do we go ahead and acquire the property. And we work with one of the top tier law firms in the country.
Yeah, just last two questions I'll take, and if you're in need of time, definitely you can reach out to me. I'll just share my coordinates right here, and I can reach out to you in terms of answering all your questions individually. Last two questions, very basic one. I think Mr. Dheeraj Bansal has asked, can a minor invest into the transaction?
Minor can invest, and there would be a nominee for the minor.
Yeah. And last question for the day, who is the current owner and what is the rent they receive?
So the current owner is the developer of the property, Ajmera, and they're receiving the same rental, which is 117 rupees per square feet. So exactly the same rental that they are receiving. Once we become owners of the property, we will start receiving that rent.
I think now I think almost all the questions answered. I would request, I think, Shiv to share his final few words over the transaction, because that his view is very important for the transaction as he required the same.
So we see, this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is one of the most attractive properties in the Andheri micro market. And Andheri micro market is one of the most attractive micro markets in Mumbai. So Andheri is one of the most attractive micro markets in Mumbai because it trades at this about 120 rupees per square feet per month rental, which is why all the corporates want to be in Andheri when they want to cut the rental costs. At the same time, they're in a very central location. Andheri railway station being one of the key residential micro markets in the city. Now to add to that, like I said, this is one of the top quality constructed buildings in the Andheri micro market, probably in the top 3, being a grade A plus construction. And so we're expecting very minimal vacancy in this overall building. Like Ankush mentioned in this presentation, there's already City, American Express, Nykaa present in the building. Over and above that, in this case, our tenant has a 15-year agreement in place. So we expect the tenant to be there for the long term. And now we have an amazing subtenant as well, which is a $4 billion company that's just growing very rapidly. So it makes a very attractive proposition to invest in.
I think that's all from our end. Thank you so very much for each one of you who has taken out time. And I think we've shared the details already with you. You can reach out to us and we'll share this presentation as well on your email address by tomorrow morning for sure. And then looking forward for your support. Last asset, 18 days, 18 crores. We plan to just quickly wrap it up and get on to the next asset. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Thank you.